Okay, welcome to the Personal Finance Taxes presentation lecture. Please make sure that you have the note guide that goes along with the presentation lecture so that you can jot down some notes and prepare yourself for upcoming assessments. All right, so when it comes to taxes, we all have to pay them. There's no way around it. We can't not pay them if we choose not to. So the question is, why do we pay taxes? We don't just pay them for the sake of paying them. They actually go for different programs and different benefits to us as citizens in society. Some of them good, some of them bad. Maybe it would be nice if we could decide where we want to pay our taxes. Unfortunately, we do not get that available to us to be able to decide. Our taxes go for what our taxes go for. So let's take a look at some of those. Taxes are a sum of money demanded by a government to support the government itself, as well as the specific facilities or services. There are different taxes. There are local level taxes, there are state level taxes, and there are federal level taxes. All taxes are paid by all residents in a variety of different manners, and we'll take a look at some of those here in just a little bit. Taxpayers is any person who pays a tax to national, state, county, or municipal, which is the city or town governments. And it could be a combination. If not, all three of those different entities, our tax dollars are going to those for governing purposes. Now, what do taxes pay for? So when we pay our taxes are going for the maintaining of roads, for libraries and other public institutions, for military as our national security, for the public school system, for our safety and protection through the fire and police departments, and also our recreational facilities such as parks and trails. And that's not all, but those are the main entities in which our taxes will go for. Now, what are the most common taxes? Those are income tax, payroll tax, property tax, sales tax, and excise tax. The excise tax is going to be one that we might not be very familiar with, but income tax is tax. We've talked about this, tax paid on income to the federal and state governments, as well as payroll, which is also a part of that. Property tax we haven't really talked about, which is taxing on property ownership, not property rental. And then sales tax, which is tax on items purchased through retail outlets. All right. So when it comes to income tax, this is taxed on the income both earned and even unearned. Seems a little bit odd, but that is true. So earned income is wages, salaries, etc. Unearned is going to be interest earned on investments. So if you have a retirement plan out there, 401k, 403b, anything like that, the interest gain on that must be claimed, and that is taxable income, even though it is not earned. Federal, so based off of the number of allowances on the W-4, which we have talked about, that is going to indicate how much comes out in terms of federal income tax withheld. As well as at the state level, some states, we talked about this in classes as well, Florida does not have state income tax, Wisconsin does, and there are Wisconsin tax tables available to you as a resource that you can access through the internet to see exactly what the tax rates are within the state of Wisconsin. Now, payroll tax. Okay, this is a tax on earned income that supports the Social Security and Medicare programs, also known as the FICA taxes. FICA taxes are paid by the employee and the employer. More often than not, they are going to be 1.45% for Medicare and 6.2% for Social Security. These rates are determined by the federal government. And when it comes to Medicare and Social Security, Medicare is for health insurance for those over 65 or disabled, and Social Security is a federal retirement program for those over the age of 65 or disabled. Property tax, if you are lucky enough to own a property, and this is not necessarily just a house, this could also be land, even if the land does not have a dwelling or a structure on it. A tax on property such as land, buildings, including homes, and even motor vehicles. Now, when it comes to the taxes, they're determined by the value of the property or where you live. So a tax rate is in place depending upon the community and the item of property. So in Omro, you're looking at about $24.75 per $1,000 of property tax on your home. So if you have a home that is valued at $100,000, you're looking at about $2,475 of property tax that needs to be paid to the local government on an annual basis. Now, a sales tax, which is a little bit different, this is tax on purchased goods and services from a retail outlet. Some states don't have sales tax, just like some states don't have income tax. But in Wisconsin, it depends on the county. And the Winnebago is 5%, which is also right around the average sales tax charged in the state of Wisconsin. So depending upon the county, you might pay 5, you might pay 5.5, you might pay 6, depending upon where you're at. So don't be confused or don't be thrown off guard if you are buying something in one county paying more than you would if you were purchasing it in Winnebago. Now, the excise tax. These are taxes collected from the seller or retailer and often remained hidden within the price of the product. So, for example, there is a gas tax that is figured into the price per gas gallon that we purchase as consumers. Same thing is true with hotel rooms, airline tickets, cigarettes, and alcohol. So that is going to be a tax that is charged within the price of the product, but there's also a sales tax that's going to be on top of that. So these items essentially can almost be double taxed at some times. And sometimes they are not, other times they are, depending upon the product. So what does it mean to file your taxes? So not only do we pay taxes, but we also have to file our taxes for tax returns. So what this means is we need to complete paperwork providing that we paid the amount of taxes that we were supposed to. And in the event that we pay too much, which means that we claim a low number of allowances, we will receive a tax refund every year in the spring. If we don't pay enough, then we're going to end up writing a check and paying in to make up for what we have not paid so that we are compliant with tax law. And then what happens if you don't pay your taxes? Well, if you don't pay your taxes, you could be audited. Your earnings, salary can be garnished in order to cover those taxes. And if we need to seek out help, what agency do we pay our taxes to? So it depends on the level of government that we owe, federal, state, local, or a combination of both. Now, when it comes to filing our taxes, we can do it manually or you can use a computer. As we become more and more of a technologically based society, the computer way seems to be the easier and quickest way to get a return, being able to post online or automated. Computer is the most popular way and preferred way to file taxes. It increases accuracy, the ease of use, and also the speedy return, the preparing of the state and federal returns at the same time, allowing us to get a faster refund. There's also a pay electronically. Normally we see an automatic deposit into our accounts. And then also acknowledgement of receipt, the fact that your taxes have been received and that your refund has been distributed. Now, also involved with that is if we decide to file our taxes personally, may need internet access to do so. Lots of tax programs are available, but make sure that you know what you are using. TurboTax, H&R Block, those are good ones to use. Don't use them if you're not exactly sure what they are because they could even be a scam. Programs provide wizards to walk you through the process, almost making these things dummy-proof. Some do provide a guarantee, and some of them will ask you to pay a fee if you use an online service. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that they're charging you for the service. They might actually have to charge you to file your taxes with the government. You can also go through a tax professional, depending upon how complex your taxes are. CPAs, attorneys, and IRS agents can help with that. Now, for these services, you definitely will have to pay a fee. Now, personally filing taxes, if you wish to do them yourself, it's not the hardest thing in the world to do, but it can be difficult and time-consuming to do them correctly. So determining what tax forms you need to complete, you can access the IRS forms and publications page to see what you might need. There are a number of different tax forms out there for a number of different situations. And then you also want to make sure that you have all of the necessary income and tax deduction forms from employers, charities, etc. At the end of the year, before the end of January of the following year, your employer will send you a W-2 form indicating what your earnings were for that particular year. The most common form is a 1040EZ. Normally, these are for lower wages. You don't itemize deductions. Usually, these people who file a 1040EZ don't have many deductions. Usually, these individuals don't have dependents, which means there's nobody depending upon this income other than the individual who is filing the tax return, and may or may not be claimed as a dependent on their parent's tax return. So even if you are a dependent on your parent's tax return, a 1040EZ is probably going to be the one that you're going to want to use for your income, because it doesn't matter if you're a dependent or if you are not. So a lot of information to take in regarding taxes. It is a necessary evil within our lifestyle. So hopefully you were able to get all of the notes for taxes. If not, please revisit the slides to make sure that you have all the notes and you can prepare for upcoming assessments. I will see you next time we meet in class.